Hey everybody, another GMG review. Today we're taking a look at the most recent Order Battletome for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the Seraphon. This has been kind of a highly anticipated, I guess, final, like first edition revision. I can't think of who's still got a first edition book. I think the Seraphon were the only ones that had a first edition book that were yet to be revised. Smarter people than you will tell you if I'm wrong, but this was one that had gotten a Battletome first edition, been updated in General's Handbook, and now has a glorious full color something number pages Battletome for us to check out. And if you're not, it's 103 pages, all the way to the pitch battle protocols. And the great thing about this is it's, I think, probably one of the only Warhammer Age of Sigmar armies that's using a completely Warhammer Fantasy Battle model range, and it looks great. It still stands up really well. They had some really great models in the end times, such as the big dinosaurs, the big plastic Carnosaur, and the something at dawn. the spitty poisonous Carnosaur, the alternate Carnosaur. I can't remember its name right now. Troglodon, I think is what it's called. And then it just still works. Like they're big chunky models. They look good on 32mm bases. The only thing that doesn't necessarily hold up as well as like some of the resins, like the Chameleon Skinks and the stuff that went to Flying Cast. But apart from that, the models look fantastic. So what do we got in here? Let's talk about the TLDR version of the background. They are, so basically when the old world blew up, they got in their spaceships and teleported away or flew away. And these Seraphon of today are basically the descendants of the Seraphon from the old world. The old ones created them as their warriors and harbingers. The old ones are all gone, but the old ones were even more sort of like enigmatic than gods themselves. So Sigmar and Malarian and all them. And so this is like their sort of like agents of their grand plan still in the universe. And I do like that the background for the old ones and the Slan and stuff like that just supports all that. Like they're one of the few armies from Warhammer Fantasy Battle that makes sense just transplanted in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and that's basically what's being described here. So the one thing I will say is, apart from a new terrain piece, they have this like little ziggurat terrain piece. Well, little. It's not little. It's enormous. But it's up there with the new Ossiarch Bone Reapers, like for just being like, holy crap, look at how big this thing is. They are a completely original model range from Warhammer Fantasy Battle, so they didn't get any new models apart from that really. And you're looking at not really a lot of updates. So if you have Warhammer Fantasy Collection, you can pretty much translate it directly into this edition of the game if you want to rebase it, whatever. And the background is basically just going through the different stars that they follow, and that basically the longer the Seraphon, after they come to their spawning pools, are in the mortal realms and manifest themselves, they take on the traits of the various mortal realms they're in. So like if they're in fire, they can be like really sort of like belligerent and warlike and stuff like that. If they're in heavens, then they become, you know, full of like electricity and stuff, and sort of more majestic, and they slowly solidify into these like not just dreamed by the Slam as memories, real beings in the mortal realms. And as time's gone on and the Age of Sigmar sort of like marched forward, they become an actual like thriving living race in the mortal realms again. So in the beginning, the background with them was it was just the Slan dreaming them back into existence. It was like memories that had like coalesced in a real form, and they're kind of demonic. Now it's like that's been happening long enough. The spawning pools have activated and real spawnings are happening, and there's real actual Seraphon in the mortal realms, which is cool. Lots of beautiful full color pictures, featuring the new terrain piece and stuff too. So if you look, there's many new sort of like bits and bobs in the new style. And all the background temple cities, the different factions. So the Dracothian, which is the big star lizard that Sigmar basically hitches a ride to when he gets to when like he like wakes up in the void after the mortal or after the old world's destroyed. He like hooks a ride under Dracothian and kind of like makes friends with it. Fangs of Sotak, Kotal's Claw or Quatlay's Claw. I'm just not gonna get that right. And then the Thunder Lizard, and then all the different sort of ages going through and what's been going on with the Slan. And the Slan Star Masters, the priests, their hunting packs, and this is the usual sort of like going through of all of the name characters. A beautiful sort of like add-on, so they've taken the terrain piece and kind of like added on a bunch of other stuff to make it sort of expanded and ginormous. Actually, it looks like they maybe like stacked a few of them to do this, but it's a wonderful big terrain piece. Them fighting some Nurgly boys. I like that, like, it almost looks like they're marching out of a spaceship. Like, it's all lit on the inside, like it's like, you know, they're getting the Enterprise or something like that. Cosmic Glory, Cosmic Lizard folks. There it is, Troglodon, yeah, I had to get the name right. Bastiodon, the Star Seer, those big pretty Croxigors, they held up nicely actually as far as the resin kits go. And then an example of an army, some great painting. Now, if there's an army that you ever wanted to do quickly, the Lizardmen with the new model or the new paint range for the contrast paints would be like the fastest army to paint ever, because you could basically just spray them, throw like whatever your preferred skin color or contrast paint down is, maybe dry brush them afterwards, and then just details you'd be done. They're kind of like the brightly colored Necrons of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. And if you just do a contrasting color on the shields, they're basically just finished. I should paint up Lizardman army. No, I won't. Kieran's playing Lizardman. I'm not gonna do that to him. And then here we go. We're into the rules. All right, for those of you that were waiting for this part, you can settle down now, or if those of you are, just skipped ahead, you missed me talking about the background and stuff. So now they didn't have previous Legion traits and stuff. They were published in General's Handbook because in the beginning, it's such an old Battletome, there was really not a lot of Legion's abilities in the original ones. They had maybe some General Army traits, but for the most part, it was just a few relics and a few artifacts, and that was it. But let's jump right in. So Legion's abilities, your battle traits, if you are all with the Seraphon keyword, you get the Ways of the Seraphon. So the Warriors of the Stars and the Realms. After you've chosen Seraphon allegiance for your army, you must either give it the Starborn keyword or the Coalesce keywords. The Starborn are the ones that are kind of like dreamed up still. The Coalesce ones have been spending time in the Mortal Realms. All Seraphon units in your army gain that keyword, with the exception of the models that already have one in their war scroll. So there's somebody that's from one of the two, basically like sides of the coin. And then you're going to unlock abilities based on that. So Contemplation of the Ancient Ones, at the end of your hero phase, you can pick one friendly Slander and replace the spells they know from the Lord of Celestial Dominion table with a new spell from that table. Choose a roll in the new spell, rolling if you had to generate the spell that they already had. So basically they can unlock new spells they can just pick at the end of your hero phase. So if you don't like the spell you had, or the spell you had this turn, you need a different one for next turn, just change it over. Sacred Asterisms. At the start of your hero phase, you can pick one of the following asterisms to be in Ascendance until your next hero phase. So you're basically picking one of the stars that you want to have like guiding your army. The Great Drake, in the combat phase, pick a friendly Seraphon hero. Until the end of that phase, you can add one of the attack characteristics of the melee weapons used by that hero. So not the mount. So if you're on a Carnodon or Carnosaur, don't worry about him. But your hero will get an extra attack. The Hunter's Steed, add one to run and charge rolls for friendly Seraphon units. That one's pretty cool when you think about appearing and teleporting and stuff. And then the Sage's Staff, in your hero phase, pick one friendly Seraphon wizard. You can add one of the casting and dispelling rolls for that wizard if it's your hero. If it is your hero phase, you can add one in unbinding rolls if the hero's in your enemy hero phase. So yeah, that's your default one, the Sage's Staff, and then as needed, you're probably going to pick the other ones. But I feel like the Sage's Staff is just the auto. Yeah, we're just going to be always +1 to cast and dispel. And so now you unlock your abilities once you've chosen your path, Coalesced or Starborn. So the Coalesced. They get the Coalesced Constellations. If your army is a Coalesced army, you can give it the Cutlass Claw or Thunder Lizard keywords. Those are 2 factions available to you. All Coalesced units in your army gain that keyword, and you can use the extra abilities listed from this constellation. So Cold-Blooded, ignore modifiers positive or negative to your bravery. So you're always going to be fixed bravery, which is cool. Predatory Fighter, add one of the attack characteristics of jaw weapons used by Coalesced units. So some weapons are classified as jaw, it means you get your bite attack. And you get +1 attack, because the Coalesced are like the ones that are not dreamt up anymore. Or not dreamt up anymore. They've like become like real mortals in the Mortal Realms, and so they're a little more present, I guess. And then Primeval Domain. If the terrain feature is partially or wholly within your territory of a Coalesced army, then any damned, arcane, inspiring, and mystical scenery rolls for that terrain feature only apply to Coalesced units, while any deadly and sinister scenery rolls apply to the not Coalesced units. So basically, if a terrain piece has good rolls, you get them. If they have bad rolls, you don't worry about them, and only the other guys in your army do, or your enemy's army. And then Scaly Skin, -1 from the damage inflicted by each successful attack that targets a Coalesced unit to a minimum of 1. So all your damage to weapons become 1, all your D3 damage weapons become D3 -1 to a minimum of 1. That's a pretty cool ability. That's a pretty cool ability. So every unit in your army becomes Coalesced. That means even the Skinks are -1 damage. And then the Starborns, these are your summoning dudes. These are guys that because they're still dreaming people up, they can just imagine units on the table, and they work a little bit like the previous book. So Unfeeling, Starborn units have a bravery characteristic of 10 instead of the bravery on their war scroll, so they're always bravery 10, they're like demons or undead. Celestial Conjuration, the Slan leaders of the Starborn can call forth Seraphon from their temple ships in the blink of an eye, so you're just pulling more down to the temple ships that are coming from outer space, because that's the Mortal Realms. You can summon Starborn units to the battlefield if you collect enough Celestial Conjuration points. At the start of your hero phase, you receive D3 Conjuration points if your general is a Slan or Starseer, and is on the battlefield, and D3 Celestial Conjuration points if there's one or more Astreth Bearers in the battlefield. So you're going to get D3 plus D3. In addition, in your hero phase, before attempting to cast the first spell for each friendly slant or oracle, you can say that they will carry a celestial conjuration. If you do so, receive D3 celestial conjuration points, but the number of spells that model can attempt to cast that phase is reduced to 1. So it's not it's not like if you cast 3 spells, you can use all 3 to get D3 anymore. It's you can do it once, and it reduces your remaining spells to 1. So it's a bit. So basically, I think your maximum you're getting is you have an Astrolith Bearer and General. Is going to be D3 plus D3 plus D3, so a maximum of 9 it looks like to start off with. If you have 6 or more Celestial Conjuration points, at the end of your movement phase, you can summon a unit from battlefield, paying the point cost here. Each unit you summon costs a number of Celestial Conjuration points, and you can only summon a unit if you have enough to pay for it. Some units must be set up wholly within 12 inches of a Slan, Oracle, or Saurus Astrolith Bearer, and more than 9 from the enemy. Subtract the cost from the Celestial Conjuration points you have in your pool. Summon units always have the Starborn keyword, because obviously they're bamfing from outer space. And then Lords of Space and Time, Slan Temple ships are able to transport themselves and Starborn warriors any distance in an instant. So this is kind of neat. At the end of your movement phase, you can pick one friendly Starborn unit from anywhere in the battlefield and be transported through space and time. If you do so, just remove them and put them anywhere not within 9 of the enemy. So that's why that +1 to run charge can be cool, because you can charge on an 8. Starborn Constellations. If your army is Starborn, you can give it the Dracothian's Tail or Fangs of Sotek keyword, and then they all gain that keyword and extra abilities. So basically, the summonable ones can be those 2, and then the ones that are on the battlefield and have the more fighty stats are going to be the ones that are the other 2 sort of like factions you can pick. And we're into command traits. So for Slans, you get D3. So there's basically 9 command traits, but it depends on who you are. So there's Slan, Saurus, and Skink. Slans can have Arcane Might. You can reroll 1 casting, dispelling, or unbinding roll for this general each hero phase. Vast Intellect. This general knows an extra spell from Lord of Celestial Dominion. And great to remember, if this general's part of your army and on the battlefield at the start of the hero phase, roll a die, and a 4+, get an extra command point. Of the 3, I mean, Arcane Might's cool. They're all actually pretty cool. I think the extra spell is the one that doesn't matter as much, because you can switch a spell at the end of the round anyway. So like, it's like not as valuable. But I think Great Remember and Arcane Might. Arcane Might's I think the default one. Great Remember, half the time getting command point. Command points could be really useful, especially with your command traits you'll see later on. Source command traits, Disciplined Fury, reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by general with melee weapons. Thickly Scaled Hide, reroll save rolls of 1 for attacks that targets general. And then Mighty War Leader, if your general is part of your army and on the battlefield at the start of your hero phase, roll a die and a 4+, get a command point. And then Skinks can have Master of Star Rituals, add 1 of the casting rolls for this general if they are a wizard. If they are not a wizard, then once per battle round, you can use the Herald of the Old One's command ability from the Skink Priest warscroll without using a command point. Either of those is kind of cool. Nimble, add 1 of the move characteristics and add 1 to save rolls for attacks to target them. So +1 save and 1 inch movement. It's pretty great. And then Cunning, at the start of the combat phase, you can pick 1 enemy hero within 3 of this general and roll a dice. On a 4+, the enemy suffers a mortal wound. Yeah, just give him stabs. Again, I think you're probably taking a Slan every game, so these aren't super relevant. But if you do, I'd say probably the... It's hard to say. Master Star Ritual, I think, is the obvious one for the Skinks. These ones are more like just generally keeping him alive, which I don't think he needs. And for the Saurus one, probably Disciplined Fury, because you can always use your casters to make them reroll 1s. Artifacts of Power. So again, you got Slan, Saurus, and Skinks. The Slan gets 6. The other 2 get 3. For the Slan, you can get a Zoetic Dial. After step's complete, before the battle begins, secretly record a number of battle rounds. At the start of that battle round, reveal the information, and heal all wounds allocated to the bearer. In addition, during that battle round, you can reroll save rolls for attacks target the bearer. So basically, fate aligns, and you get to pick a turn that you just heal all your wounds, and you can reroll saves during that turn too. So like the turn you think you're going to be in danger, or like you've taken a bunch of damage, be like, and you come back. Light of Dracothian, once per battle, you can automatically unbind 1 spell cast by enemy wizard within 15, and automatically dispel 1 endless spell within 15. Not as good as this Zoetic Dial, I don't think. The Prism of Amintok. Once per battle, at the start of any phase, pick 1 enemy unit within 12 inches of the bear and roll a die. On a 1, that unit suffers a mortal wound. On a 2 to 5, it's D3. On a 6, it's D6. The Exploding Slan is kind of cool. That could be a really trolly ability to finish somebody off with. Ixie Grubs. At the start of each hero phase, you can heal 1 wound allocated to the bearer. In addition, in your hero phase, you can roll 1 casting roll or a despairing roll for the bearer, and in the enemy hero phase, roll 1 unbinding roll for the bearer. I think that's the winner, honestly. Like, the getting all your wounds back is cool, but just it's 5-turn game, getting a wound back every turn. So 5 turns in your hero phase, you get 5 wounds back. And then reroll casting rolls all the time. every hero phase, like, and every enemy hero phase you roll an unbinding roll. That's like 3 abilities in one. Like, that's amazing. In the Pocket Dominion, in your hero phase, you can pick an enemy hero within 12 of the bear invisible until your next hero phase. The hero fights at the end of the combat phase. In addition, if the hero is a wizard, until your next hero phase, they subtract 1 from casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls. So that's, again, pretty neat. Just like making somebody fight last so your army can jump on them, and there's really no stopping it. So you could have Nagash fight last, or Gotrek fight last, or anybody. And then Throne of the Lost Gods, add 4 to the bear's move, and add 1 to the bear's wounds. So you give him a cool chair. Cool little leaf diaper and stone chair to fly around in. Honestly, the Itsy Grubs feel like the winner here for the Treasures of the Old Ones, just because it keeps you on the table, and also makes you're a slan, like you're there to cast, and being able to reroll is amazing. And it means you don't have to take the trait that does that. So you don't take Arcane Might for him then, you take Great Rememberer, so you're going to get an extra command point, and then you give him the Itsy Grubs so that he's got the reroll anyway. He has the same ability basically, but he also gets a wound back every turn. Alright, the Saurus, Celestial Relics of the Warrior. The Blade of Realities, pick a bear's melee weapon, improve its turn by 1. In addition, add 1 to the damage inflicted by each successful attack. The target's a hero. So not anybody, but a hero. So he's plus 1 damage against heroes. Sizes of the Prime Hunter. Each time the bear fights, after all the bear's attacks have been resolved, you can pick 1 enemy unit within 1 inch of the bear and roll a die. On a 1, nothing happens. On a 2 to 5, take a mortal wound. On a 6, take D3 mortal wounds. Meh. And then Blood Rage Pendant, add 1 to the attack characteristic of the bear's melee weapons if the number of wounds allocated to the bear is greater than half the bear's wound characteristic, rounding up. So, yeah. So he gets, like, mad when he gets hurt. I don't like any ability that has to proc off you dying, though. If I was going to take one, probably just the mortal wound one. Like, it's just wounds, it just does damage, you know what I mean? Like, 2+, do wounds. I'd take that. And the investments of the priesthood, I mean, sorry, I don't want to comment, but like, there's better, like, generic. Like, the Feather Torque is better than most of these items. Investments of the priesthood, skinks only. Incandescent rectresses. The first time the bear is slain, before removing them from the battlefield, roll a die. On a 1 to 3, they're dead. 4 to 6, they heal all wounds and come back. Yay! Any wounds remaining are just negated. So he just comes back to life. That's cool if you're taking a Starseer for sure. Cloak of Feathers, -1 to hit and +4 move, and can fly. That's a pretty good one too. And then the Sacred Stegodon Helm, add 1 of the save rolls for attacks target the bear. In addition, add 1 of the damage characteristic of the melee weapons used by the bear if they made a charge move in the same turn. Spell lores and endless spells. So we're into the spell lores, and then endless spells bound endless spells is kind of interesting because bound endless spells are sort of new. You can, in addition, Seraphon army can include bound endless spells. All the rules that apply to the other endless spells apply to bound endless spells, except the bound endless spells can only be moved by the player from the Seraphon army. What? If only one player has a Seraphon army, then move all the bound predatory endless spells before any other predatory endless spells are moved. The players then alternate removing the remaining ones as normal. If both players have Seraphon armies, the players alternate moving them as normal, but each time a player could move a bound predatory endless spell, they can choose to move either a bound one or a normal one. So yeah, you're going to pay, you'll see later on, you're going to pay more for your endless spells, but they belong to you. And that's pretty freaking cool. Yeah, so it kind of adds, I mean, it just adds an extra level of magic to the army. All right, so we got lores for the slans and the skinks. The Lord of the Celestial Domination, Celestial Apotheosis, cast on 5. If cast, pick a friendly unit wholly within 18 of the caster invisible. Heal a wound allocated to that unit. In addition, until your next hero phase, subtract 1 from the bravery characteristic of enemy units within 3. If the caster rolls a 10+, heal D3 wounds instead of 1. Does not bring models back though, just heals wounds. Walk Between Realms, you don't want to call it Walk Between Worlds anymore. I get it, it's an old school spell. Cast on 6, if cast, pick a friendly unit wholly within 18. They can fly until the next hero phase. Mystical Unforging, cast on a 7. If cast, pick an enemy hero within 12 of the caster invisible. The hero suffers D3 mortal wounds, and you have to roll a die on a 5+, their artifact power is destroyed. Number 4, Celestial Equilibrium, cast on 7. If cast, until your next hero phase, I'd want a casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls for friendly wizards other than the caster. So he boosts all the wizards around him. That one's pretty neat. Stellar Tempest, cast on 8. If cast, pick a enemy unit wholly within 24 of the caster invisible. Roll a dice for each model in that unit. On a 5+, to take a mortal wound. And then Drain Magic, cast on a 9. If successfully cast, all endless spells within 24 of the caster that are not bound or dispelled. So just kill the spells around you. It's funny, that's the Slans magic list, and it's not really very killy. It's like more of support wizard spells. it's funny because like you'd think he would be killing people, but I guess the bound on the spells are where it's at now. He's gonna get most of his damage done through that. Lore of Celestial Manipulation, Celestial Harmony, so this is the skink stuff. Cast on 5. If cast, pick a friendly unit within 18, sorry, wholly within 18, and visible. Until your next hero phase, do not take battle shock tests for them. If the caster rolls a 10 plus, pick all friendly units within 18 instead of 1. So on 10 plus, like that's amazing. All friendly units wholly within 18, sorry, not wholly within 18, all friendly units within 18, period, and visible, become immune to battle shock. Hand of Glory, cast on a 6. If cast, pick a friendly unit wholly within 18. Until that next hero phase, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by that unit. Not quite as good as the Hand of Glory and the Lore Master. Never change that. It's such a good spell. Extend Astro Matrix. Extended Astro Matrix has a casting value of 6. If cast, pick a terrain feature wholly within 18 of the caster invisible. Any damned, arcane, inspiring, and mystical scenery rules for that terrain apply only to Seraphon units, and then it's basically the trait. Any deadly and sinister ones apply to the non-Seraphon units. So you basically turn a terrain piece against somebody. Fiery Convocation, cast on a 7. If cast, pick an enemy unit within 18 of the caster invisible until your next hero phase. At the end of each phase of a turn, roll a die for that unit on a 6+, take D3 mortal wounds. Bind Endless Spell, if cast on 7, if cast, pick an Endless Spell within 18 of the caster invisible until your next hero phase. The Endless Spell has the bound keyword, so you can capture enemy Endless Spells with the bound keyword. And then Tide of Serpents has a casting value of 8. If cast, pick an enemy unit within 12 of the caster and roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in that unit, and a 5+, take a mortal wound. So, yeah, a way better version of Stellar Tempest. Not one enemy unit. I mean, yeah, it's, I guess Stellar Tempest is better. Cast on an 8, 24 inches, 5+, they'll take a mortal wound. But like, you've got 2 shots at it basically, Stellar Tempest and Tide Serpents. The problem is they're both bound to the unit size. So like a really tough 3-man unit is not going to care about that spell, and like heroes aren't going to care about that spell, whereas like a big unit of goblins is going to care about them. So both the skink and the slan have an 8+, slightly less range for the skink, but like just not super killy for either of these. I do feel like there's a little more utility of this. They're kind of forcing you to take the skinks, I think, because there's a little bit more utility in their spell list than the slan list. The slan's more about boosting the other guys around him and then shooting on endless spells. And we got the Realm Shaper Engines. This is your free terrain piece, and it's pretty ginormous. When you choose a Seraphon army, you can include a Realm Shaper engine. When terrain is set up for the battle, any Realm Shaper engine terrain features must be set up by the player who is part of the army they are before any other terrain features are set up. More than 6 for any objectives and 6 for any battlefield. Set up the rest of the terrain as described in the core rules. So it goes down first before the terrain, and it's not within 6 of any objectives. So it makes it easier to place. I think this new way of putting down terrain is probably better overall for the game. Alright, so what does it do? It's a garrison. The Realm Shaper engine can be garrisoned. You can go inside it. The model making the garrison of the Realm Shaper engine must have a combined wound characteristic of 20 or less. And then Power Unleashed in your hero phase. If this model is garrisoned by a friendly Seraphon wizard or friendly Seraphon priest, you can pick 1 terrain feature anywhere on the battlefield and roll a die. For each enemy unit within 3, add 2 to the roll if that terrain feature was within 18 of this model, and subtract 2 from the roll if that terrain feature is more than 36 inches away. On a 4+, take D3 mortal wounds. So, yeah. You garrison it with a wizard or a priest, and then you pick a terrain feature anywhere on the battlefield and roll a die. So if the terrain feature is within 18, not wholly within 18, within 18 of this thing, then everything within 3 on a 4+, sorry, everything within 3 on a 2+ takes D3 mortal wounds. That's a horrifying ability. Oh my god. And it goes down before the terrain, so like it could be super, super, super scary. Dracothian's Tail and the Fangs of Sotex. These are the 2 that are the coalesced ones, I believe. Not coalesced ones, sorry. Dracothian's Tail, these are the Starborn ones. And so what do we get if we pick this faction and add this keyword? Well, we get the, for Dracothian's Tail, appear on command. Instead of setting up friendly Dracothian Tails unit in the battlefield, you can place it to one side. You can set up 1 reserve unit waiting in, to appear at the command for each friendly Dracothian one on the battlefield. So it's basically the Stormcast Ride the Lightning. At the end of your movement phase, they can appear anywhere in the battlefield, more than 9 from any enemy units, and wholly within 18 of a slan, basically, from the army. Any reserve units waiting to appear that are not set up at the end of the 4th battle round are considered slain. So your slan basically dreams them up within 18, or summons them from the spaceship within 18. Your command trait, Ancient Knowledge. This general knows 1 extra spell from Lord of Celestial Dominion. Again, I don't know how powerful that is. In addition, you can reroll 1 casting, dispelling, or unbinding roll for this general each hero phase. There's so many ways to get that ability that I'm like, I don't know what value it is. Do they stack? I guess they do because they have different names. So like you reroll like 2 or 3 of them. The God Beast Pendant, and the first time the bear is slain, before removing them from the battlefield, roll a die. On a 1 to 3, the bear is slain. On a 4 to 6, they come back with all their wounds, and all the remaining wounds are negated. So that's a cool ability, just for keeping your general alive. And these are both musts. The Fangs of Zotek, first to battle. In the first battle round, add 3 to the move of their skinks. This is the skinky one. And then Parting Shot is your command ability. Use command ability at the end of your enemy charge phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Fangs of Zotek skink unit from the skink warscroll, or Fangs of Zotek chameleon skink unit, wholly within 18 of a Fangs of Zotek hero. That skink or chameleon skink unit can shoot. After you resolve that unit's shooting attacks, roll a die. On a 4+, that unit can make a normal move. If it does, it must retreat but cannot run. A unit cannot benefit from this command ability more than once per phase. So basically, you can shoot in the hero phase. It's kind of cool. Command trait, Fangs of Zotek Saurus General must have this command trait instead of the one listed. So if you don't take a Saurus General, somebody else could have a different trait. If the general's on the part of your army and on the battlefield in the hero phase, roll a die. On a 3+, get a command point. So it's a better tactics, get a command point ability. And then your Artifact of Power, the first hero in your army has to be given the Serpent God Dagger. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. At the end of any hero phase, end of any phase, if any wounds inflicted by that weapon in that phase were allocated to an enemy model and not negated, and that enemy model's not been slain, roll a die. On a 5+, they're dead. Holy crap. Just a 5+, kill Nagash. Just a 5+, kill anybody. Kill Gotrek, whoever. This doesn't cause wounds, doesn't do damage, just straight kills you. Yeah, that's a pretty cool dagger. So, I mean, it's a pretty cool dagger if there's a big hero on the table or a big monster or something like that you really need to kill. Or like, I mean, it'll even kill like a Caradron boat. It's just, if any wounds inflicted by that weapon in that phase were allocated to an enemy model and not negated, and that guy isn't slain on a 5+, they're just dead. Just like boat, he just like punctures like the, the sails. That's all the air out. Quatlay's Claw. Let me just double check, because I know the Dracothian's Tail is the one that's the whatchamacallums, the Starborn. I can't remember which or which. Artifacts Power, Starborn are... Fangs of Zotek and Dracothian's Tail, yeah. Okay, so that actually, the Fangs, these are both the, is what I thought. These are both the Starborn ones. And so Quatla's Claw, Quattle's Claw, you get your abilities. So Savagery Incarnate, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Quatla's Claw source units when they make a charge. That's pretty cool. And then command ability, Controlled Fury. Use this ability at the start of the combat phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Quatla's Claw source unit, wholly within 24 of a friendly Quatla's Claw source hero. They need to count something that made a charge move. So they proc their Savagery Incarnate basically for a point. You give them +1 a hit. Command trait, and actually that could be cool for other abilities too, like Lances and the Colon Riders. There's a couple of reasons why charging actually can be cool. So your command traits, your general has to have this one, the Dominant Predator. It's fun. Roll a dice each time this general is used to issue a command to a friendly source unit. On a 4+, receive a command point. So basically, roll a dice each time this general is used to issue a command to a friendly source unit. So basically, you get a rebate on your command points when you use a command ability. Unless you have, I can't remember, does he have commanders and scrolls? I can't remember if that was no, it's just his thing. Yeah, if he uses a command, basically if he uses a command on somebody that's a Saurus, he gets a rebate on his points. Half time. And then Artifact of Power. Get the Eviscerating Blade. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made by that weapon is a 6, it does 2 mortal wounds in addition to any normal damage. That's a pretty solid weapon if you have a lot of attacks. And then the Thunder Lizard. I just like saying Thunder Lizard. This is the monster one. Add 2 to the wounds characteristic of your monsters, so all your monsters get +2 wounds. Hello, Bastillodons. Your command ability, Trove of the Old One Technology, because basically you get you're on the spaceship with the best stuff, or you've landed your spaceship, and it's like all the stuff's now in the Mortal Realms. Use command ability at the end of your shooting phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Thunder Lizard's Bastillodon, Thunder Lizard's Engine of the Gods. It's wholly with, or the Engine of the Gods, wholly within 18 of a friendly Thunder Lizard hero. If that unit is a Bastillodon, it can shoot with its solar engine, even if it's already done so in that phase. If that unit's an Engine of the Gods, you can make a Cosmic Engine roll for it, even if it's already done so. So basically, do it twice. You can't benefit from this more than once per turn, though. So let's say you've got 2 Bastillodons. For 2 command points, they can both shoot twice. Command traits, Thunder Lizards, Prime War Beast. Add 1 of the attack characteristic of the mounts, General's Mount. And then Artifact of Power, the Fusel of Conflagration. You get a plasma gun. In your shooting phase, pick an enemy unit within 12 of the bear invisible to them and roll a die. On a 1, this artifact doesn't get used again for the rest of the battle because it blows up. 2 to 3, nothing happens. On a 4, 5, they take D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, they take D6 mortal wounds. It's literally a plasma pistol. Makes me laugh. Got our cool battle plan for Seraphon showing up and slaying people. Your Path to Glory rules as per usual. And then, whoa, we're into some warscroll battalions. And so now, these are again based kind of upon your where you're coming from. So the Eternal Temple Host, this is the put together one. So it's a Slan, Skink Starseer, or Skink Oracle on a Troglodyte, an Eternity Warden, 3 Source Guard units, 2+ Sunclaw Temple Hosts, so this one, 1+ Firelance Temple Host, so this one, 2+ Shadow Strike Temple Host, so this one, and 1+ Thunderquake Temple Host, so this one. Look at it's like 4,000 points for the finishers. Primal Vistas. If the Slan, Starseer, or Oracle from this battlefield battalion is on the battlefield, the Primeval Domain battle trait applies to all terrain features, not just those in your territory. So like all terrain becomes friendly to you. Yeah. And then the ones you might actually take. So the Sunclaw Temple Host, an Old Blood or Sunblood, 3 Source Warrior units. That one could be used and can only be used by Coalesce. This is your on the ground guys. Improve the run of your Jaws weapons by 1. So I could see you taking that one if you're doing all Source, if you're going to go for the melee army. Firelance Temple Host, a Scar Veteran, and 3 Source Knight units. Can only be used by Coalesce. Add 3 to the run and charge rolls for units from this battalion that are wholly within 18 of the Scar Veteran from the same battalion. That's pretty cool. The Shadow Strike Temple Host, 1 Skink Star Priest or Skink Priest, 1 unit of Pterodons or Ripperdactyl Riders, 2 units of Skinks or Chameleon Skinks in any combination. And again, only coalesced. The Trap is Sprung! In your hero phase, pick 1 enemy unit from this that is visible to the Star Priest or Priest in this battalion. So your next hero phase, add 1 of the hit rolls for attacks made by that unit for this battalion that target that unit. So basically, he calls somebody out, everybody gets +1 hit against them. And then the Thunderquake Temple Host, this is the one you take with the monster army. Engine of the Gods or Stegodon with Skink Chief, a Crocscore unit or a Hunting Pack. And then 2 Bastiladons or Stegodons in any combination. I think this one will be pretty popular no matter what. And it can only be used in Coalesced army. Your Beastmasters. In your hero phase, declare this battalion will be Swift or Savage. If you choose to be Swift until your next hero phase, units from this battalion can run and still shoot or charge. If you choose Savage until your next hero phase, add 1 of the attack characteristic of melee weapons used by the battalion. So I think the run and charge one's the one you're going to use all the time, and that can be really handy for Battalions because they're pretty slow. All right, so on to the ones from the Starborn, the Eternal Star Host. It's again, your ginormous one, and this is all going to be for the Starborn guys. It's a Slan, Skink Starseer, or Skink Oracle on Troglodyte, an Eternity Warden, 3 Source Guard units, 2+ Star Hosts, so 2+ this one, 1+ Fireland Star Host for this one, 2+ Shadow Strike Star Host for this one, and 1+ Thunderquake. So you'll notice they kind of have the same, like, hosts. And can only be used as Starborn Army. At the start of your hero phase, receive D3 Celestial Conjuration points if the Slan, Starseer, or Oracle is on the battlefield. So your hero is basically alive, you're going to get a bonus D3. So you could go up to, I mean, but this is like 4,000 points worth of models, you're not going to get it. But you can go up to 12 per turn, potentially. So your Sunclaw Star Host, it's an Old Blood or Sunblood, 3 Source units, and can only be included in a Starborn army. And again, your rend for your slowest type weapons is increased by 1, so your melee weapons, not your bite. So it's just kind of reversing what the rend bonus is for. The Fireland Star Host, it's a Scar Veteran, 3 units of Knights, and then Blazing Cohorts. If the unmodified wound roll for an attack made with a celestial type weapon in this unit is a 6, it does a mortal wound addition normal damage. So your 6s to wound are mortal wounds on top of normal damage. So that's pretty cool for being stabby. Your Shadow Strike Star Host, 1 Star Priest or Skink Priest, a unit of Pterodons or Ripperdactyls, 2 units of Skinks, Chameleon Skinks in any combination, and can only be Starborn. Strike from the Stars, instead of setting up a unit from this battalion on the battlefield, you can place it in reserve, and it uses the normal reserve stuff. At the end of your movement phases, you can set up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 for the enemy, and if you're not set up within the 4th battle round, you're slain. So it's a better version of the teleport version that has to be near a Slan, so this one's just anywhere. And then Thunderquake Star Host, it's an Engine of the Gods or Stegodon with Skink Chief, Crocscore unit or Hunting Pack, and 2 Bastiladons or Stegodons in any combination. And you get Celestial Surge. In your hero phase, you can heal a wound allocated to each unit in this battalion. If the unit's wholly within 18 of a Slan, heal D3 wounds instead of 1. Again, pretty valuable. And what I do like is, if you choose to make a Starborn army or a Coalesced army, your model list doesn't really matter. You can flip between the two no matter what, and it's not really going to change because all of your hosts use the same composition. So that is a kind of clever way of making it so that you don't have to build a specific army and you can try out both sets of rolls no matter what. All right, so let's get into some war scrolls. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually just going to look on, I'm going to try and go through and just spot any differences and see what the like on the app here and see what I find. But the app is up today, so if you guys want to go through and look at the differences yourselves, obviously you can. Core stats for the Slan Starmaster. His bravery is only 9 now instead of 10. His Azure Lightning is still 3-inch range, 6 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1/1 damage. It's all the same. He can fly. Arcane Vassal. Before the Slan spell, you can pick a Vassal channel it. Yeah, okay. It's pretty much the same. When this model attempts to cast a spell, before making this casting roll, you can pick either one friendly Skink Wizard that's within 12 of this model, or one friendly Oracle anywhere on the battlefield. If you do so, the spell is cast through them, and uses their visibility and range. Foresight, I don't see. That's maybe new. Start of your hero phase, you can roll 2 dice, and for each 4+ get a command point. Master of Order, add 1 to casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls for this model. In addition, this model can attempt to unbind enemy spells that are cast anywhere in the battlefield, and attempt to dispel endless spells anywhere in the battlefield, so no range for his dispels. And then Magic, he can attempt to cast 3 and unbind 3, and he knows Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, and the Comet Calls. And it's the same as before for the casting count. The Comet's Call has a casting value of 7. If cast, you can pick up to D3 different enemy units in the battlefield, and they take D3 mortal wounds. If it's on a 10+, take D6 mortal wounds instead of D3. So there's his like big damagey spell on top of the endless spells, and it's on 10+. You're going to try and stack bonuses to cast, basically. Gift the Heavens, you can use command ability in your hero phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Seraphon unit only within 18, the friendly model with this command ability. To your next hero phase, you can fly and add 1 to save rolls for attacks made with missile weapons that target that unit. You only use command ability once per hero phase. So basically, you just like juice up a unit and make them better. And then it's good old Lord Croak. Oh, Lord Croak. I love that you're still basically like they put your mummy in the whatchamacallit. They put your mummy in the spaceship and took you with them. So he has a fixed wound stat now, or before he didn't. So it's 5-inch move, still 4+ save. He's only bravery 9 now, and with 7 wounds. His Azurite Force Barrier is now his melee attack, and it's slightly different. It's got a 3-inch range, 3+, 3+, -1/1 damage. We'll look at that in a second. And he flies. He's an Arcane Vassal, so he's the same Arcane Vassal rule as the regular Slan. His Azurite Force Barrier, the attack characteristic of Azurite Force Barrier is equal to the number of enemy models within 3 of the attacking model when the number of attacks is determined. So he's basically, the barrier's better the more people are there. So he's like, if he's mobbed by goblins, he could have within 3, he could have like a 20 attack gun with his Force Barrier. Just hilarious. Dead but for innumerable ages. Roll dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to this model, and a 4+ just negated. So he's a 4+ wound shrug against all wounds. So basically he has 14 wounds if you roll average. He has impeccable foresight. He rolls 3 dice to get a command point on a 4+. And then Master of Order, add 1 to casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls to this model. And then there's no range for his casting and dispelling. And he's a wizard that 4 casts and 4 dispels. So he's pretty juicy. He knows Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, Celestial Deliverance, and Comet Call. So Comet Call is the same as this one. And then he has the caster can attempt to cast a spell up to 3 times in the hero phase. So Celestial Deliverance is on a 7. The first time it's cast, 8. The second time, 9. The third time. Each time the spell is cast, pick 3 different enemy units within 10 to the caster invisible. On a 2+, take D3 mortal wounds. If the unit's a demon unit, on 2+, they take 3 mortal wounds instead of D3. And then his command ability is Gift from the Heavens, the same as the regular Slans. The Old Blood. Did you change? The Old Blood. It's the regular Old Blood on foot. Source Old Blood. Stats look a little bit better for save. He's got a 3+ save now, but he's down to Bravery 8. He will be Bravery 10 though. Remember, all of these guys will be Bravery 10 if they become Starborn. And then he's got he's armed with one of the following weapons: a Celestate Maul, Celestate Warblade, War Spear, or Great Blade. And the stats have remained relatively the same. So the Maul is 4+, 3+, -1d3. Actually, it looks almost identical. I'm not spotting any difference. The War Spear is 4 attacks, got a plus bonus to hits, 3+, 3+ now, and no rend and 1 damage. The Great Blade is 4+, 3+, -1, 2 damage, which is the same, but has an extra attack now. And then Fearsome Jaws are the same, 4+, 3+, 1 damage. He's got a no shield bonus. The shield thing is, his Ignore Rend is gone. But he's got Cold Ferocity now. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a Celestate weapon is a 6, that attack scores 2 hits instead of 1. And make a save roll for each one, because they're all Celestate. And then his command ability is Wrath of the Seraphon. Use command ability in the combat phase. If you do so, pick a friendly source unit wholly within 18. Until the end of that phase, you can add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by that unit. A unit cannot benefit from this command ability more than once per phase. So that other, with the 1 coalesced army, you could give them +1 for this and +1 because they're charging. So you can make them counter, you have them hit on +2 basically, which is pretty cool. And then the Sunblood. Oh, Saurus Sunblood. Saurus own blood. The Sunblood. He's the same changes. He's leadership 8 with, bravery 8, with a 3+ save now. His War Mace is 6 attacks, gone up an attack, same stats otherwise, and his Jaws have gone down 1 attack, because if you go back to 2 attacks, you become coalesced. And then he does not have an Aeon Shield anymore. He has Primal Rage instead of Ferocious Rage, but it kind of works the same. If the unmodified hit roll for attack made with this model is a 6, it scores 2 hits on target instead of 1. Make a wound roll and save roll for each one. In addition, if the unmodified wound roll is a 6, does a mortal wound on top of normal damage. And then Set of Weakness, uses command ability in the combat phase. If you do so, pick an enemy unit within 12 of the friendly model with this command ability. Until the end of that phase, add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by friendly source models that target the enemy unit. A unit cannot benefit from this command ability more than once per phase. And the Saurus Old Blood on Carnosaur, same sort of thing. He's got Bravery down to 8 from 10. His Sunbolt Gauntlet, still D6 attacks, 18-inch range, 3s and 4s, -1/1 damage. The Sunstone Spear, it's a solid-state weapon, is pretty much the same, but damage flat 3 now instead of D3, which is pretty cool. Carnosaur's Clawed Forelimbs, it's still 2 attacks. The dash attacks, though, have they changed it all? Clawed Forelimbs, 3+, 4+, 4+, 5+, 5+, exactly the same. Massive Jaws, exactly the same damage track. And they're still 2-inch reach, 4s and 3s -1, but flat 3 damage now. Oof, that's pretty great for the Massive Jaws. As opposed to being degrading, so they don't degrade at all anymore. They're just flat 3 all the time. They used to start off at 5, but now I'd say that's just overall better, where they don't actually ever go down. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have the attacks just stay the same. And then what do we got for special rules? Pin Down, Blood Frenzy, Blood Roar, Blazing Sunbolt Gauntlets, and Ancient Warlord. Blazing Sunbolts are still there. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with a Sunbolt Gauntlet if they're targeting a Daemon unit. Blood Frenzy. If any enemy models are slain by wounds inflicted by this model's attacks for the rest of the battle, this model can run still charge. And then Cold Ferocity, this is new. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a solid state weapon is a 6, the attack scores 2 hits instead of 1, and make a wound save roll for each one. And Pin Down, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with Massive Jaws if the target has a wound characteristic of 7 or less, because it's smaller. And then Terror, subtract 1 from the bravery characteristic of enemy units within 3 of this model. So any friendly units with this ability. And then Wrath of the Seraphons is command ability now. You can use command ability in the combat phase. If you do so, pick a friendly source unit wholly within 18 until the end of the phase. You can add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by that unit. You can't benefit more than once per turn. So you get +2 attacks again if they've charged and you use your command ability, which is pretty cool. An Eternity Warden. What do you got going on, Mr. Source Eternity Warden? You are new. No. Sunblood, Carnosaur, Old Blood on Carnosaur, Source Knights, Source Eternity Warden. There he is. Same thing, down 2 leadership, save up to 3+ though, which is pretty cool. And then his Starstone Mace, which is a solid state weapon, 3 attacks, 1-inch range, 3s and 3s -1, 2 damage, goes to D3 damage instead of 2. And then Fearsome Jaws, same as normal, 4s and 3s to wound now though, and 1 damage. So the bite attacks are 4s and 3s, which is pretty cool. And then Cold Ferocity, same thing, of exploding 6s for solid state weapons. Selfless Protector, roll a dice if you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a friendly slain within 3. Of any friendly units with this ability. On a 2+, you must allocate that wound or mortal wound to this unit instead of the slan. And then Prime Guardian, it says command ability. You use command ability in the combat phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Source Guard unit wholly within 18 of the friendly model with this command ability. Until the end of that phase, you can add 1 to hit rolls for attacks with that unit, and you can't benefit from more than once per phase. So Source Guard means your Temple Guard, which is pretty cool. And then Source Guard. Sorry, Source Guard, not Temple Guard. These are the regular Source Guards. And they are, I think, probably the new name for just regular Saurus. Where do we go? Oh no, this is Temple Guard actually. Saurus Guard. Yeah, there we go. Save, bravery down to 8, but again, the Starborn ones will be bravery 10. Solid State Polearm, 2 attacks, 3s and 3s -1/1 damage, and the Powerful Jaws, 5s and 4s 1 damage. The Alpha gets an extra attack. And then Star Drake Icon, if 1 every 5 models can be an Icon Bearer, subtract 1 from the bravery characteristic of enemy units within 6 of any friendly Star Drake Icon Bearers. War Drummer, 1 in 5 can be a War Drummer, reroll charge rolls, and then Selfless Protector, same as the other one, you can allocate a unit to this unit, or wounds if the Slan takes wounds. And then Scarvet on Carnosaur. Saurus, everything starts with Saurus. There he is. Again, 12 move is degrading as normal, 10, but it changes slightly, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, as opposed to 10, 10, 8, 8, 6. So it drops down less steeply, but every time he takes a bracket, basically. The Clawed Forelimbs stay the same, and the Massive Jaws stay the same. And then the Warblade is pretty much the same. More Spear is pretty much the same. Great Blade and Forelimbs are pretty much the same. Except the Massive Jaws now do more damage. They're not damage D3 anymore, they're 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Which is pretty sweet. And the Clawed Forelimbs have the same degrading damage track, with 2 attacks, 3+, and 2 damage. Blood Frenzy, same as the big guy. Celestite War Spear, add 1 of the damage if he charged in the same turn. So you plus some hit and damage. And then Cold Frosty, same as the other guy, if the Celestite weapons explode. Pin Down, same as the other big guy. Terror, same as the other big guy. And then Saurian Savagery uses command ability in the combat phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Saurus unit wholly within 18. Until the end of the phase, if the unmodified hit roll for an attack made by the weapon is 6, it scores 2 hits instead of 1. And make a wound and save roll for each one, which you can't benefit from more than once. And then you get a Scarvet on a cold one. Oh my god, there's so many types of Scar Veterans, it's ridiculous. It's just, I feel like we're on these guys forever. On a gold one, 4+ save, bravery 8. Moves down to 8 inches though, he's a little bit slower. War Pick is the same, Fearsome Jaws is the same, Snapping Jaws is the same. It's the bite, melee bite. Has Cold Frosty, 6 Exploding 6s, Saurian Savagery, uses command ability, Saurus unit, same as the one on the guy on the Carnosaur. And then Saurus Warriors. What do you got going on, Saurus Warriors? Better be pretty great. You're the core choice. There's a whole build living on you guys. 5-inch move, 4+ save now, sub 1 save, which is basically trading off for their old shields. I don't believe they have 2. Why don't they have 2 wounds? If Chaos Warriors have 2 wounds, these guys should have 2 wounds. And then Bravery, 8 instead of 10. Your Celestite Club, 4s and 3s, no rend, or they've gained a rend, so -1 rend now for the club. Spears are now 3+ to wound. And Powerful Jaws are exactly the same. Icon is -1 bravery, War Drummer is reroll charge rolls, and Ordered Cohort is their ability. Add 1 of the attack characteristic of the Celestite Clubs or Spears if there's 15 or more models in the unit. So, an okay core choice. And then you got your Astrolith Bearer, because what we need is another Saurus hero. 5-inch move, 4+ save, 6 wounds, and down leadership 8. The War Pick is entirely the same. The Fearsome Jaws is entirely the same. Actually, sorry, wound on 3s now for the Fearsome Jaws. And then Celestial Conduit, add 1 to casting rolls for friendly Seraphon wizards within 12. In addition, add 6 to the range of all spells cast by Seraphon wizards within 12. So a nice way to give your Slan +2 to cast, because you would always take +2 to cast if you can as this guy, and then you can get your 10+ on an 8+ for your big explodey spell. Reviving Energies, roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a friendly unit within 12 on a 6 is negated. So you get a 6+ wound shrug. But no rerolls to hit anymore. Doesn't get Pride Defiance, so that's gone. And then you got your Saurus Knights. Saurus Knights. What do you got going on? 8-inch move now, so bit faster. 2 wounds, 4+ save instead of a 5+, and bravery 8. Looks like your blades are the same. Your War Spear is the same. And it's +1 damage on the charge still, and +1 hit because they're Saurus. Jaws are the same, and Snapping Jaws are the same. Alpha gets an extra attack. Icon is -1 bravery, and War Drummer is reroll charge rolls. Same as all the other ones and all the other Saurus units. Skink Starseer! He's the baby Slan. Like he stole like the Slan's ride. What do you got going on, Skink Starseer? You have a 5+ save now. Your save's down 1, but you have a bunch of relics and abilities that can give you bonuses. 5 wounds and bravery 6 instead of 10. Astral Bolt, you've got a shooting attack now, which is 18-inch range, 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 D3 damage. Kind of cool. And your Staff is better to wound, so it's 4s and 3s, 2 attacks now, -1 D3 damage. So you're a bit more fighty. You can fly. Cosmic Heralds, 4+ get a command point. Astromancer's Staff, so that's down actually from 2+. Yeah, so like you're slightly less good at making command points, but you have a lot of place to make them now. Your Astromancer staff, at the start of the charge phase, you can pick a friendly Seraphon unit wholly within 12 inches of this model. If you do so in that phase, they can attempt to charge with that unit if it's within 18 of the enemy instead of 12. And you roll 3d6 instead of 2d6, so you speed stuff up. And then your Wizard, cast 1, dispel 1, Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, and Control Fate. Control Fate cast on a 7. If successfully cast, pick a unit within 18, invisible. If that unit's an enemy unit, your -1 to save rolls for attacks to target that unit. So their -1 to save rolls. If that unit's a friendly unit, you're +1 to save rolls. So cool, old school Mystic Shield for you, and a debuff for everybody else. And it's not rend, but it is a modifier, so you can't do it on the ghosts. Skink Star Priest. What do you got going on, Foot Skink? Foot Skink says he is +1 wound. That's pretty cool. And bravery down to 6 because he's not mystical anymore unless he's from the Starborn. He's got a Venom Bolt. He's got a gun now. 18-inch range, 2 attacks, 3+3+, -1/1 damage. Serpent Staff is 2 attacks, 4s and 3s now, -1/1 damage. He's the Astral Herald, 5+ to get a command point in your hero phase. In your hero phase, pick a friendly Serpent Staff. In your hero phase, pick a friendly Seraphon unit wholly within 12. If you do so until the next hero phase, the unmodified wound roll for an attack made by that unit to 6. That attack inflicts 1 mortal wound in addition to normal damage. Unit cannot benefit from this ability more than once per turn. Pretty cool. If you're going to jump it on a big fat unit of source, something like that on the charge, have them do mortal wounds. So that's a good reason to take a Star Priest if you're just going to take something that's got tons of attacks, because all of your melee attacks will do it. The bite attack will. If you take a 15-minute unit, you get +1 attack with your spears, for instance, and then just send them in, buff all their to hit rolls, and try and explode as many 6s as you can. And then your Skink Oracle on a Troglodon. What's that guy got going on? Skink Oracle on Troglodon. No. Skink Handler, Skink Priest, Skink Star Priest, Skink Starseer. Is it Star? No, that's not it. Skink, maybe the Troglodon. QRST. Maybe it was called something different before. Pterodon Riders, Troglodon. Oh, there it is. Yep, it's just the Troglodon before. It's written by a Skink Oracle. There you go. And so it is same except for bravery down to 6. Noxious Spittle is D3, 3, and 2 damage, exactly the same. Range, however, is the same as well, and degrades exactly the same. Divining Rod is 4s and 5s, now 4s and 4s, and -1 D3 damage. It's a little bit better. Clawed forelimbs are exactly the same. Yep, and the Venomous Bite is 6 attacks, down now to 3 attacks, 4s and 2s, however, and flat 2 damage. So 4s and 2s, flat D3 damage. It's not quite as good as it used to be. But it's balanced out, I guess, a bit by the Divining Rod. He is drawn to Screams. Still, if any wounds inflicted by the smallest Noxious Spittle are allocated to enemy unit, not negated, you can reroll charge rolls. Oracle to Slan. Add 1 of the casting dispelling rolls for this model. In addition, this model can attempt to unbind spells cast anywhere in the battlefield. That's pretty cool. Regenerate. That's new. Roll dice in your hero phase and a 2+, heal D3 wounds allocated to this model. Terror, -1 bravery for units within 3 inches. And then Venomous Spittle. If the unmodified wound roll for an attack made with his model's Noxious Spittle or Venomous Jaws is 6, it does a mortal wound and top of normal damage. And he's a wizard that can cast 1, dispel 1. And he's got Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield, and the Comet's Call. Comet's Call is cast on a 7. If successfully cast, pick D3 units anywhere in the battlefield. They all take D3 mortal wounds. If it was a 10+, D6 mortal wounds instead. Whoa, he's got the big Slan explosion. Oh my god, and then we're into Skink Priests. so many heroes in this army. Skink Priest, he is down to bravery 10, or down to 6 from 10. Starbolt's a bit better now. It's 2 attacks instead of D3, so it's a bit more flat, but it's 4s and 3s, -1/1 damage. The staff is down to 4s and 4s with 1 attack, -1/1 damage. He's not as fighty in melee. The Starstone Staff, in your hero phase, you can pick a friendly Skink unit wholly within 12 of this model and roll a die on a 3+ until your next hero phase. Unit can run, still shoot, and charge in the same turn. You can add 1 of the save rolls for attacks to target that unit to make him stab or dodgy. Can't benefit from more than once. And then your command ability is the Herald of the Old Ones. Uses command ability in your hero phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Skink unit wholly within 18 of a friendly model. With this command ability, until the next hero phase, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by that unit. It's basically the Saurus ability, but for Skinks. And then Skinks themselves, because everybody loves Skinks, down to bravery 5. Your Meteoric Javelins, 1 attack, 5s and 4s, 1 damage. It's the same as before. Your Bolt Spitter is 5s and 5s, 1 damage, 16-inch range, same as before. Celestite Daggers are not... Oh, it's the Moonstone Club before. So your daggers are 1 attack, 5s and 5s, 1 damage, and your Moonstone Club is 1 attack, 4s and 4s. So if you're taking the Javelin guys, they get daggers, I guess. Alpha gets +1 attack, Swarming Cohort, one of the attack characters give all weapons used by this unit to 15 or more models, and then Bucklers give you +1 save. And then Chameleon Skinks, which I remember people summoning bajillions of before because they were obnoxious. Still an H move, 6+ save, Bravery 5 now, and 1 wound. 16 range gun, 2 attacks, 3s and 4s, 1 damage. Your dagger's the same. Chameleon Ambush, instead of sticking this unit, you put it aside. If you do so at the end of any movement phase, and you're in the battlefield not within 9 of the enemy, if you use the battlefield at the end of your movement phase, you can remove it and say it's going back in reserve. So you can go back in reserve, but if in the 4th battle round someone's in reserve, they're dead. Perfect Memory, cover gives +3 to saves instead of +1. And then Star Venom, if an unmodified hit by an attack is a 6, it does a mortal wound, and the attack sequence ends. And then you Salamander Hunting Pack. Now these guys are pretty popular, so let's see if they've changed it all. 8-inch move, 4+ save now, Bravery 5, and only 1 wound. But the Salamanders have 3 wounds instead of 1, and they're armed with a Stream of Fire and Burning Jaws. So the regular guys have the Goad. It's a 4s and 3s melee attack. And the Burning Jaws are 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 D3 damage, which is pretty cool. That's better than before because it's D3 damage, -2 save. And the Stream of Fire is 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, -2 D3 damage. So it's not quite as high damage, but it's 4 attacks. So potential of 12 damage instead of just D6. And then it burns. If an unmodified hit roll for an attack made, the Stream of Fire Burning Jaws is a 6. It does D3 mortal wounds, and the attack sequence ends. They're pretty cool still. What about you, Razordons? What do you got going on? QRS. 8-inch move, 4+ save, 1 wound, but again, the Razordons themselves have 3, and Bravery 5. Goads are the same. Spiked Tail, 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -2 damage. And your Volley of Spikes is still 2d6 shots, 3+, 4+, 1 damage. Instinctive Defense, if there's any enemy units within 3 of this unit near the charge phase, no enemy units within 3 at the start, each Razordon unit can make a shooting attack with a Volley of Spikes, but it's only d6 instead of 2d6. That's pretty cool. Piercing Barbs, improve the rend of 1 for Volley of Spikes if the target's within 6 inches. And then it's Kroxagors, 4+ save, Bravery 7, 4 wounds. They're pretty much the same. The Maul is 4s and 3s, 4 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1, 2 damage now, so it's got some rend. The Moonhammer is 4 attacks. That's not, sorry, it's C below. It's 4 to hit, 3 to wound, -1, 2 damage. And attack characteristic is equal to the number of models within 2 inches. Still pretty cool. If you're fighting hordes. And then your Vice-like Jaws, 4s and 3s, -1, 1 damage. And Battle Synergy. Add 1 to hit rolls if they're within 6 of any skink units. That's cool. So they're going to be all 3s to hit if there's skinks nearby. So you stick them with the hunting packs and they get bonuses because they all have the skink keyword. Yes, they do. And then Jaws like a Steel Trap. If the Vice like Jaws hit roll is a 6, it does a mortal wound in addition to any normal damage. And we're on to Bastiladons. All right, these are a fan favorite. So how have they changed? Okay, so 10 wounds now, 5-inch move, Bravery 6. Save dash though, so their save is equal to the number of wounds they've suffered. Interesting. So they start with a 1+ save at 2 wounds, a 0 to 2. 3 to 4 it's 2+, 5 to 6 it's 3+, 7 to 8 it's 4+, 9+ it's 4+. So their worst save is a 4+. And then the Solar Engine has a 24-inch range now, and its attacks are 9 to start, 8, 7, 6, 5 based on its wound track. The Bludgeoning Tail, sorry, the Meteoric Javelins are 4 attacks, 5s and 4s, 1 damage. The Bludgeoning Tail is 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1 D3 damage. It's basically the same. And then Titus Snakes, if an unmodified hit roll for an attack made with the Arc of Sotek is a 6, the attack inflicts a mortal wound and the attack sequence ends. So pretty cool. Still pretty cool. I mean, it's the Solar Engine's not just doing mortal wounds anymore. So that's kind of a big deal, the Searing Beam rather. 2d6 attacks was what it used to be. Now it's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So it starts with an above average roll, gets to an above average roll at the middle of the wound track, and still does a ton of damage. Add 1 of the damage if it's targeting a Chaos Demon unit. That's pretty cool. So it's damage 3 instead of 2. It's the same as before. I think they're still cool. The 1+ save to start's pretty neat. You still fail on a 1, but it means you're immune to rend basically over 1. And then Pterodon Riders. I guess I'm going to see how good they are when Kieran brings them into play, because he's got 2. So I will reserve judgment. It still seems pretty good. Still seems really not bad. Move up by 2, so 6-inch move now for the Pterodons. Save down to 6+ though, bravery 5 with 3 wounds. Javelins went up in range to 12 inches with 2 attacks, 4s and 3s, 1 damage, the same as before. Sunleech Bolas. D6 attacks, that's kind of cool. 4s and 3s, 1 damage. The melee, raises sharp jaws, 4 attacks, 4s and 4s, 1 damage. Same as before. They fly. Alpha gets +1 attack to its melee weapons. And then deadly cargo, once per battle. After the unit makes a move, you can pick an enemy unit and roll a die for each model in that unit that they passed over on a 4+. For each model in this unit that passed over them on a 4+, take D3 mortal wounds. So 3 Pterodons would be 3 4+, each one doing D3 mortal wounds. And then it's Ripperdactyls. They're pretty much the same as before. QRS. Oh my god. So many things to do. 14-inch move goes down to 12. 5+ armor save stays. Bravery 5, 3 wounds. And the War Spear is 1 attack, 4s and 4s, 1 damage, same as before. The Tearing Jaws are now 3 attacks, but there's no beak attack anymore. So the claws and beak have been put together into Tearing Jaws. 3 attacks, 4s and 3s, 1 damage. They fly. Alpha gets +1 its Moonstone attack. Blot Toad, you receive a Blot Toad marker for each Ripperdactyl rider in your army. Toad Rage, at the start of each combat phase, you can set up a Blot Toad marker next to an enemy unit. If you do so, you can reroll hit rolls for attacks made by Tearing Jaws by friendly Ripperdactyls within 6. End of the phase, remove the Blot Toad marker. It can't be used again in this battle. So you get it once. And they're not units. And then they have Voracious Appetite. If an unmodified hit roll for a Tearing Jaws attack is a 6, it does 2 hits instead of 1. And make a wound roll and save roll for each one. So exploding 6s. Pterodon Chief. QRST. That seems new, unless there's a skink. Was there a skink on Pterodon before? Skink, Starseer, Star Priest, Priest, Handlers? Nope. I'm not sure. Ripperdactyl Riders? No, it seems like it's new. I just can't find it otherwise. It doesn't seem to be here. So 16-inch move, 6+ save, bravery 6, 5 wounds. Skyblades, 3 attacks, 3s and 4s, -1, 1 damage. Razor Sharp Jaws are 4 attacks, 4s and 4s, 1 damage. Lead from on high, -1 to hit rolls for attacks made by melee weapons. Target units that cannot fly. That target this model. And Coordinate Attack, you can use this command ability when a friendly Pterodon Riders unit uses deadly cargo. While within 12 inches of a friendly model, this command ability, and it's a 2+ for D3 mortal wounds instead of a 4+. So every model does it on a 2+ for that command ability. That's pretty cool. That could really mess somebody up. And then Ripperdactyl Chief, 12-inch move, 5+, 6+. Sorry, 5+ save, 6 bravery, and 5 wounds. And the Skyblade is 4 attacks, 3s and 4s, -1, 1 damage. Tearing Jaws are 4 attacks, 4s and 3s, 1 damage. Flies. Has exploding 6 to hit with the Voracious Appetite. And then Ripperdactyl Assault. You can use this command ability at the start of the combat phase. If you do so, pick a friendly model with this command ability. Until the end of that phase, add 1 to the attack characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly Ripperdactyls wholly within 18. So you can jack up Ripperdactyls and do Voracious Appetite and the Toad and stuff. Stegatron! Everybody loves Stegatron. He's my favorite Decepticon. So, same stats for Bravery 5, unless he's, of course, the Starborn. Meteoric Javelins look the same. Sky Streak Bow looks like it's got better to hit now, so 3+ to hit. And then -1 and flat 3 damage. That's cool for the big crossbow. And then the Sunfire Throwers have a 8-inch range and no stat line anymore. So what they do now is they do not make an attack sequence, instead roll a number of dice equal to the number of models within 5. Within 8, and every 5+ is a mortal wound. Oh my god. So you just wade into goblins with that guy and then use his Starfire Thrower, and like, here's 65+ mortal wounds. That's pretty great. And then his Massive Horn, Meteoric War Spear is new. And it's 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, 1 damage. Massive Horns are still, they're down in attack, so they're 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1, but the damage goes to the damage track. And it starts at, the Ren doesn't change, the damage changes. It starts at 4, so it could be 8 wounds with 2 attacks, and then 3, 2, 2, 1. Crushing Stomps are 1-inch range, 4s and 3s goes to 3s and 3s, and then -1, 2 damage, which is pretty cool. The damage is up and the Ren is up, and the hit's up. And the attacks are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So they're not as many attacks, but higher damage and better rend. Skink Chief is a hero. You can include a Skink Chief. Oh, the Skink Chief that goes on top of it can be a hero. That's why it gets the War Spear now. And then his Armored Crest. At the start of the combat phase, you can pick one enemy unit within 3 inches of this model that has up to 5 models. If you do so until the end of that phase, add one of the save rolls for attacks made by the unit that target this model. So you just basically, he turns his face to somebody, and that means that he has better saves against them. Steadfast Majesty, reroll battle shock test for friendly skink units, wholly within 18 of any friendly Stegodon units. And then Unstoppable Stampede, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 1 inch of this model after it finishes a charge on a 3+ take D3 mortal wounds. And then Coordinated Strike, pick a friendly skink unit, wholly within 24 of a Stegodon hero. Stegodon, I can't stop saying it now, because I've said it once, I'm just going to say it forever. Get +1 attack to that unit, and they can't benefit for more than once per phase. Engine of the Gods. Engine of the Gods. Let's take a look at you. A, B, C, D, E. Up 2 wounds, 4+ save, bravery 6 because he's a skink, and then his meteoric javelins are 4 attacks, 5s and 4s, the same as before. Massive horns, same as before. Grinding jaws, same as the other guy. Crushing stomp, same as the other guy. But then the engine itself, Armored Crest is the same. Cosmic Engine, at the start of your shooting phase, you can make 1 engine roll for 1 model with this ability, and only 1 model. Roll, so you never want to have more than 1. Roll 2d6 and look up on the table to the right. If there's a friendly slam within 12 inches, you roll 3d6 instead of 2d6. So 2 to 3, this model takes D3 mortal wounds. 4 to 8, the engine thrums. Heal D3 wounds allocated to every Seraphon unit wholly within 12. 9 to 12, bolts of azure light shoot it and engulf the foe. Pick it, 1 enemy unit within 24 of this model invisible to it, and roll 1 dice, or roll 1 dice for each enemy unit within 12 of this model that's visible to it on a 2+ D3 mortal wounds. Oh yeah, so basically you can do everyone within 12 or 1 unit within 24. You can like focus the beam and make it explode. 13 to 17, you can set up a unit 10 Saurus Warriors within 12 of this model, more than 9 from the enemy. They just like bamf in for the portal. And then 18, time crawls to a halt. For the rest of your turn, you can reroll charge rolls for Seraphon units wholly within 24 of this model, and double the attack characteristic of weapons used by Seraphon units wholly within 24 of this model. Steadfast Majesty, same as the other guy, and Unstoppable Stampede, same as the other guy. All right, so all of these bound spells are basically the same, except can't be unbound. So, Endless Spell Warscroll, Bound Bale and Vortex, but only Seraphon wizards can cast it. Purple Son of Shish, immediately move it, Ungiven Form, yeah, they're basically the same. Visage of Xeris, Mass and Bravery, Bale and Vortex, I want to save rolls for models on top of it, yeah. Looks like that's it. Nashor's Jaws, Prismatic Palisade. They're just giving them new terms so that you know they're different, but they all do the same things. And then we got our pitch battle profiles. All right, let's look at some points. Engine of the Gods, I haven't looked through the point values, see if they've changed, so I'm just going to go through. Engine of the Gods is 260. Saurus Warriors are 90 for 10, or 320 for 40. Bastiladon's 220. Stegodon's 240. Croak is 320. Reproductive Chief is 80. Saurus Astrolith Bear is 140. Eternity Warden is 110, Old Blood is 110, Scar Veteran on a Cold One is 110, Sunblood is 130, Skink Priest is 70, Star Priest is 120, Star Seer is 140, Star Master Slan is 260, Pterodon Chief is 70, Old Blood on a Carnosaur is 250, Scar Veteran on a Carnosaur is 210, Oracle on a Troglodon is 260, and the Stegodon with Skink Chief is 270. Your Chameleon Skinks are 90 for 5. Crocs in the up to 20. Croc scores are 140 for 3 up to 12. Razordon Hunting Pack is 80 for 4 up to 12. Reproductive Riders is 80 for 3 up to 12. And then Salamander Hunting Pack is 80 for 4 up to 12. Saurus Guards is your battle line. 100 for 5. Wow. Oh, do they have 2 wounds though? I don't think so. Oh, they do have 2 wounds, that's right. And then up to 20. 100 for the Saurus Knights, up to 20, 520. Skinks are 60 for 10, up to 40, and Pterodon Riders are 3 to 12 for 90 points. The Eternal Stars is 200 points, the Temple Host is 180, Firelance Star Host is 160, Firelance Temple Host is 160, the Shadow Strike Star Host is 170, the Shadow Strike Temple Host is 150, the Sunclaw Star Host is 160, the Sunclaw Temple Host is 140, and the Thunderquake Star Host is 130. The Thunderquake Temple Host is 150, and then the bound stuff, the Aether Void Pendulum is 60, the Balewind Vortex is 50, the Burning Head is 40, the Cogs are 90. They're basically 10 points more. The Lightsworm is 60, the Geminids are 70, sorry. The Maelstrom is 20, the Prismatic Palisade is 40, the Purple Sun is 60, Swords are 40, Ravening Jaws are 40. Some of these may be the same, actually. The Sorcerer Shackles are 50, the Suffocating Gravetide is 30, and the Umbral Spell Portal is 80, and the Realm Shaper Engine is just 0. And you can ally with Stormcast Eternals or Sylvaneth. And that's it. There is our look at Order Battletome Seraphon. Some lizardy awesomeness for your games of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that look at this Order Battletome. We'll see you for more of these in the future. Big thanks for watching. Next time, Ash. Have a good day. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below so you get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. My live shows are on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, typically, unless I notify otherwise. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Deathray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.